From the Castro Theater in San Francisco, welcome to the 2012 Local Hero Awards in celebration of LGBT Pride Month, presented by Union Bank and KQED. Please welcome KQED President John Nolan.
Thank you. Good evening. We're really grateful that you've joined us this evening as we celebrate LGBT Pride Month. We want to thank our partner, Union Bank, for supporting our Pride activities and for making tonight's celebration possible. We are honored to recognize 4 individuals for their outstanding contributions to the community. Nominated by people who have seen their dedication up close, these unsung heroes represent the highest values of community service, which is really what public media is all about. Now it is my pleasure to introduce you to tonight's host, a writer, producer, and director for both television and film, Dustin Lance Black. He is well known as the Academy Award-winning writer for his original screenplay, Milk, which also won him a Writers Guild of America award. But beyond his prolific media credentials, Lance is a committed civil rights activist. His presence here demonstrates yet again his commitment to equality and dignity for LGBT people. Please join me in a very warm welcome for Dustin Lance Black.
Hello. Hello, San Francisco. So great to be back here. Thank you. Thank you. I have to give you a little bit of a warning. I have a bit of a cold, and I wasn't going to miss this for the world, but this former Mormon might have taken one too many decongestants. So if I break into You Make Me Feel, it's only because I believe I am Sylvester in the Castro Theater in 1974. I'd be so lucky. No, I want to go a little bit further back than that. I want to go back to World War II, right here, when gays were being canned from the service with what they called a blue slip or a blue ticket, discharged as undesirable, and dropped off back at their port of embarkation. Now, if they were in, say, the Pacific, that port of embarkation would have been right here, at Fort Mason. But a homosexual discharge didn't mean you were going to be able to go back home. It meant there was no going home, not ever again. And these blue ticket men, they had to build a new life right here, in my favorite city in the world, San Francisco. Now, their lives began to be built up around the bars. And every Sunday, some of these bars even went as far as to serve chicken and some cheap spaghetti to these young boys with no families and no homes. And these bars became the meeting places, the social clubs, starting on, say, Polk Street, then Haight Street. They became places to build a new community, places to build a new home. And one night, in a bar called the Black Cat, a man named Jose Sarria began singing arias from Carmen while he was serving drinks. And he was dressed the way he'd been dressed ever since he was a little boy, in a ball gown and a tiara. Now, this was the 50s. It was a felony to be gay. The bars were being raided constantly. Suspected homosexuals were being rounded up and hauled off. Gay people were being beaten and killed. But Jose led us a different way. Jose led us his way. He said, be as open and honest as possible. There is nothing wrong with being gay. The crime is getting caught. Divided, they catch us. United we stand. And in 1961, Jose Sarria ran for the San Francisco Board of Supervisors right here, becoming the first openly gay candidate for public office in the whole United States of America. Now, he never expected to win. That wasn't the point. He lost, but with over 6,000 votes. Enough to make it clear that behind that voting curtain, there was a gay voting bloc. A gay voting bloc existed, a voting bloc formed from those World War II blue slips, a voting bloc that could wield real political power, a voting bloc utilized a decade later by another local man, this one with a camera shop, just a few blocks up the street here, and his name was Harvey Milk. And then there were Del Martin and Phyllis Lyon. Oh, this couple, they fell in love. And they moved in together on Valentine's Day, right here in the Castro, in a little tiny apartment in 1953. They fought back together. They fought back together by forming the Daughters of Bilitis, the first social and political organization for lesbians in the United States. Their idea to organize a lesbian movement was started here as well. And it too caught fire, and it too went national. And 55 years later, these local heroes were married on June 6, 2008, in the very first same-sex wedding in San Francisco. And with us here today is Phyllis Lyon. I would love to acknowledge her in the audience today. But in the 80s in the Castro went into mourning. It was funeral after funeral after funeral. If you went to all of your friends' funerals, that's all you'd be doing every day. And what was left? What was left of your friends, of your community? No family, no support, no acknowledgement from your own parents or from your own government that there was even a problem, that AIDS even existed, that the lives in this neighborhood or this city even mattered. So at a candlelight march memorial for his old boss, Harvey Milk, and this is back in 1985, there was this young man named Cleve Jones, and he looked up at a wall of names written on poster board and cardboard, the names of those who had been taken from us by AIDS. And they'd been taped up to the side of the old federal building here, and Cleve Jones had an idea. He'd make a quilt. And in 1987, Cleve Jones created the very first AIDS Memorial Quilt panel in honor of his friend, Marvin Feldman. Yes, right here in San Francisco, that happened. So it's my honor, and I'd like to recognize him today, to say that we're here with us is Cleve Jones. Please stand up and say hi to the crowd. Thank you, Cleve. We have come together tonight to shine a light on 4 more heroes from our LGBTQ community, because we know that our Bay Area heroes have a history of sparking national ideas. What our local heroes do here sets an example for our community at large, how we come out, how we reach out, how we educate, how we heal, and build coalitions with other minority groups. So listen very closely tonight as we honor Jay and Jeff and Roger and Tom, like Jose Saria and Phyllis and Del and Cleve Jones before them. Our hero stories tonight will serve as inspiration. They'll serve as models for further progress nationally, for more health, greater understanding, increased freedom and protection, as they help light the path that leads from hope to reality. It starts here. It starts here. It starts here in San Francisco. And now joining me to welcome tonight's local heroes is Peg Van Camp, Senior Vice President and Senior Legal Counsel at Union Bank. Peg is also a leader here in San Francisco in the bank's LGBT Employee Research Group, You Be Proud. Thank you very much, Peg, for being here.
Thank you for that introduction, Lance. I appreciate it very much. And good evening to everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight on behalf of Union Bank, and especially to be holding this event here at the historic Castro Theater, a lasting symbol of San Francisco's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. As a responsible bank committed to our communities, Union Bank is proud to again partner with KQED for this awards program. We recognize that the LGBT community is an integral part of the larger communities we serve. I'd like to briefly acknowledge a few of my Union Bank colleagues who are here tonight. Pierre Habis, Senior Executive Vice President and Head of Community Banking. Mr. Habis is also the executive sponsor for our UB Proud Employee Resource Group. Mark Midkiff, Vice Chairman and Chief Risk Officer. Morris Hirsch, Senior Executive Vice President and General Counsel. Mike Feldman, Executive Vice President and Head of California Branch Banking. Elaine Ginevro, Senior Vice President and Regional Executive for Northern California, as well as a number of our UB Proud members. They are all here tonight, and I ask you to please stand and be recognized. It's time for the most important part of our program, recognizing our honorees. I have the great pleasure, along with KQED's John Boland, of introducing the evening's honorees. Our first honoree is Dr. J. Africa. Dr. Africa's life passions stem from her LGBT and Filipino pride and her love of and commitment to helping people in need. I think you'll agree her energy and her perseverance in addressing challenging social problems is admirable. Let's learn more by watching her video profile, introduced by Pierre Habis.
Hello, I'm Pierre Habis of Union Bank. Diversity is one of our most closely held values. This is why we're proud to honor local heroes in celebration of LGBT Pride Month. Let's meet one of our honorees.
My name is J. Africa. I am the Health Equity Initiatives Manager at San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. My particular department really has to do with behavioral health, people who have substance abuse and mental health problems. We do a lot of training. We've partnered with other community-based organizations to talk about domestic violence, to talk about what we can do to help each other in this community in San Mateo.
How are you?
Health fairs help first and foremost bring, for example, Pacific Islands together, and they can actually get these free resources and get the health checkups that they need. I think we need to go beyond survival and thrive. And opportunities like parenting classes, resource fairs, health forums, conversations about how to be in a healthy relationship really help people thrive. The mere fact that you say, I'm here for you and I'm going to do my best to help you out and to get the resources for you, I think that really makes a difference.
It is truly an honor to be here tonight, especially to be in the company of Tom, Jeff, and Roger, who are really the icons of the LGBTQ community. Just sitting beside you is just amazing. Although I have to admit, I'm the best looking among the four of us. I want to thank KQED and Union Bank for their commitment to diversity and their support to help individuals, families, and communities be successful. Thank you also to many friends and family, some who are here tonight, for always watching out for me. They say it takes a village to raise a family, but in my case, there are actually many villages involved. Thank you, Alis, Comares, and Compares, the Filipino Mental Health Initiative, San Mateo County, my parents in the Philippines, CSPP Alliant, but most especially to Boss and Mr. Bill, who 13 years ago welcomed me, a shy, naive, insecure international student from the Philippines, into their hearts and into their homes, not knowing what they were getting into. I think I am who I am today because of you, Boss and Mr. Bill. We are all connected in the tapestry of life. When one is discriminated against because of their skin color or accent, that person can then discriminate against a neighbor who looks or talks different. When a person is excluded and treated like an outsider, that person can justify an incident of hate or violence towards another as self-defense. When a woman is treated as inferior because of her gender, she learns to judge others based on stereotypes and misconceptions. When gays and lesbians are not able to be who they are, they can in turn force others to conform, live within the box, or live in fear. Inequality and oppression affects us all. It is inherently bad for us. It crushes our spirit and makes our community unhealthy. I believe it is our social and collective responsibility to work towards inclusion and equality so people can thrive and be the best that they can be. I believe we should all be activists for women's rights, patient rights, gay rights, immigration rights, even if we don't identify in any of those categories. We should become advocates and allies for each other because no one struggle is more important than another. Each of us has the power to change and make a difference. Use that power to break down barriers, to connect, to promote dialogue, and to help people. But let's temper that power with compassion, humility, and constant self-reflection. Remember to use that power not only to do well, but to do good. I must admit, I feel like a little bit of a fraud receiving this award. There is really nothing extraordinarily about my life. I am an ordinary person who every day gets the privilege to be with people, share in their stories, and be a part of their journey. I think it takes more courage to get up and face the day knowing for sure that people will judge, ostracize, or exclude you. And so, I offer this award to all of you, wherever you are in this world, who in spite of all the hardships and the challenges, get up, remain authentic to who you are, and do your thing. If my friend Nelson Jim was here, he would say like, hey. It's really because of your courage, your stories, and your strength that I am inspired every day, and I am full of hope. And really, in my book, you are the true heroes. Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Well, I am very pleased to introduce our first performance for the evening, Veronica Klaus and Tammy Hall. They just released a new CD called Something Cool, a collection of cool jazz tunes. Check it out. And please welcome Veronica Klaus, accompanied by pianist Tammy Hall.
Everybody needs somebody to lend a hand, a helping hand, and so do I. Oh baby, so do I. Everybody needs somebody to be their own, their very own, and so do I. Pretty baby, so do I. To go through life alone is living with half a heart. with half a heart. I'll never be the same as long as we're apart. Everybody needs somebody to have and hold, so I've been told, and so do I. Pretty baby, so do I, and so do I, and so do I.
Thank you.
Keep talking, talk about things you'd like to do.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our second honoree, Mr. Jeff Cotter. Mr. Cotter has been faithful to the LGBT community through avid civil rights activism since 1987. Let's take a closer look at his video profile to learn more about his great achievements.
My name is Jeff Cotter. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Rainbow World Fund. Rainbow World Fund is an international humanitarian aid agency based in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and friends community. We work within our community to educate people about issues of world need and humanitarian aid. And as we raise our community's consciousness, we raise funds to support relief efforts all around the world. Our projects include landmine eradication, hunger, safe drinking water access, global HIV, and disaster relief. The bottom line of our organization is to change the separation consciousness that's out there. This belief that black is separate than white, that gay is separate than straight, that rich is separate than poor. When I tell people about Rainbow World Fund, their usual response is, oh my God, this is exactly what we need to be doing as a community, serving the world in a new way.
Thanks, that feels really great. Thanks for the intro, John. And thank you, KQED and Union Bank, for this honor. I started Rainbow World Fund 12 years ago because I wanted to find a way to tap into our community's strength to help others around the world. I'd seen how HIV and our struggle for civil rights had brought us all together and taught us a lot about caring, giving, and loving. I realized that we had a lot to offer the world. In the 43 years since Stonewall, our fight for LGBT liberation has become a rallying call throughout the world for human rights and justice for all people. Our journey has taught me that we are all part of one human family. I created Rainbow World Fund as a way for our community to express its love and compassion for the world. As LGBT people, we know the tremendous power of coming out. The aid that Rainbow World Fund provides shows the world who we are and what we care about. Tonight, I'd like to thank everyone who has helped Rainbow World Fund come true. Our all-volunteer staff, our international partners, our donors, the nonprofits that have supported us, and especially the many friends here tonight. Your generosity has saved lives and helped heal the world. Thank you for this honor.
Now, before we introduce our next entertainer, please join me in thanking DJ Lamont Young, who's been providing all the great music tonight. Also, let's give a round of applause to the staff here at the Castro Theater for their great help tonight. Now, up next, hold on. We have a woman who was named Best Gay Comedian 2012 by the Bay Area Reporter. I love that paper. Best San Francisco Comedian 2012 by the San Francisco Weekly, and one of the first out lesbians in comedy. Please welcome Marga Gomez. Watch yourself, you're on TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you, San Francisco. How you doing tonight? I'm so thrilled to be here. And first off, I want to give big love to our 4 local heroes. Thank you so much. I don't think of you as local heroes. I think of you as global heroes. I think of you as interplanetary heroes. She is the cutest. What can I tell you? Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Marga Gomez. I don't often dress up like this. I went for a professional look because I'm trying to pick up a banker. Dollar bill, y'all. I was one of those kids who ran away to San Francisco when my parents wouldn't accept my sexuality. I was 35 years old at the time, but I was very, very immature. And I was thinking about that day when I first arrived in San Francisco. It was a beautiful day like this. Wasn't it a beautiful day in San Francisco today? Yes. And it reminded me also of all the beautiful days that you saw in the wonderful movie by Dustin Lance Black, Milk. It's a love letter to Harvey and a love letter to San Francisco. And in that film, through the course of time, every day was beautiful in San Francisco. Every night you could wear shorts in San Francisco. One night, Harvey wore a London fog coat, but I think that was just to be cool. And Dustin, I don't think knows what it's going to be like when he gets outside, because Dustin, not every day is beautiful in San Francisco. There was no fog in that movie, and that's fine. But I just think at some point we need to put a disclaimer in the DVD so that we're not sending the wrong message out to LGBT youth who run away from home, come to San Francisco, and only pack 2 pairs of booty shorts. Where's the camera? Children, bring a sweater to San Francisco. San Francisco, of course, is my second home, and the Castro is my neighborhood. And I'm a lesbian in the Castro. I'm one of the 3. And but my friends, there will be more lesbians in the Castro, because I just heard news that there's going to be a new 2-story lesbian club opening around the corner from the Castro Theater, Trader Joe's. Yes. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. This is, of course, Pride Month, and there's no better place to be during Pride Month than the Castro, because that's when the naked guys wear socks. It's very exciting. Okay, Middle America's not going to understand that. I'm an out lesbian comic. I get a lot of shows, gigs during Pride Month, and the most rewarding part of it is talking to our youth, our LGBT youth. After shows, they want to ask me questions because they look up to me as a gay historian. And they're so excited to learn from me. And they ask me questions like, Marga, what was it like back in the day? You know, back in those early days of gay liberation, what was it like for you and Gertrude Stein and Frida Kahlo? And it really touches my heart, the enthusiasm that our youth have. And I wish I could give them some great information, because I was there back in the day. And I don't know what to tell our youth. All I could tell them is, I wish I had bought property. I wish. Brothers and sisters, let's not forget, though, that we're very lucky to be here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where diversity is celebrated, not just tolerated, but celebrated. There's other parts of this country that it's not so easy to be an out LGBT person. Hollywood. It's not, apparently not. Especially when you're rich, it's really, really hard. You've probably read about our sisters and brothers who are hiding in Hollywood in the news recently, and I'm not gonna mention any names, because they have asked for one thing only: to live a private life, to be private people, and I respect that. I respect that so much, I don't even go to their movies, because I feel that they at least can have the space that they need with their money. Their lives are very difficult. I don't think a lot of you realize what it's like to be a famous private gay or lesbian celebrity. I don't think you realize, first of all, you can't get a massage anymore. How many of you know that that show, that hip show, Cribs? You know that show, Cribs? It's like lifestyles of the rich and famous, but for hip hop people, and they go and they show their homes. So there was this private lesbian hip hop star, and she was on Cribs, but all you saw of her home was her closet. So, you know what? It's maybe too hip for the bankers, but I still want to date you. I still want to date you, even if you don't know what Cribs is. You know what? You know what they need in Hollywood, though? For, again, our LGBT people who are hiding, what they need in Hollywood is a private person parade. A private person, like the parade we enjoy here in San Francisco. It would just be different. The private person parade, there would be no marching. They just tiptoe. And no chanting, just shh. Yeah, no loud rainbow flag calling attention to yours. Just a camouflage tarp. They'd hold up banners that were blank. A private person parade, I think, would be a lovely thing for them. Again, those are Chuckles, and I think the person explained Chuckles, not for me. Chuckles, I don't want Chuckles. Yeah, good, no Chuckles. That's what right, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Dustin, I like to call him DLB, is fighting Prop 8. It's so bizarre. I mean, Phyllis, can you believe this? I mean, the Prop 8 is like, that we have it, like that we're the state, like, supposedly the coolest state, and we don't have same-sex marriage legalized yet? It's crazy. We had it for a week. You know what it is? It's that commercial they had, the Prop 8 commercial. It was terribly done and yet powerful, because I saw it. It was all over TV that year, all over 2008. That's all you ever saw was that one commercial. And it was, remember, the little girl runs home from school. Her mommy's in the kitchen. What century is this? The mom's in the kitchen? She's not even drunk? Where are these people? And the child is so happy. She skips, and she tells her mommy, Mommy, guess what I learned at school today? I learned that someday a prince could marry a prince, and someday I could marry a princess. Which really freaked out her mom, and it freaked me out too. Because, let me explain, if I had a child, I would not want her learning about princes and princesses in school. Because we live in a democracy, and I don't... Yes. What? We don't need to raise false hope in our children that they're going to meet royalty. And even if my daughter did meet a princess and hook up with a princess, I wouldn't want her to marry one because those people are lazy. Am I right? They're lazy people and their hats are stupid. So if it was my child coming home from school telling me that, I would just make it real with her. I'd just go, honey, I don't think you're going to meet a princess, but maybe someday a UPS driver. How's that? Thank you very much. Thank you, my heroes. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, San Francisco. I love you. Thank you, fellas. Thank you.
It's a hard act to follow. Next, we'd like to recognize and honor Roger Doughty. This extraordinary man has devoted more than 10 years of his life as executive director of the nation's oldest lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community foundation, Horizons Foundation. Roger has always been passionate about his LGBT community. Please join me in viewing a short video profile about Roger's unwavering representation.
Roger Doughty has been a leader in the LGBT movement for more than 25 years. Since 2002, he's led the Horizons Foundation, a community fund that strengthens nonprofits and inspires giving.
Its founders envisioned something that would be there for all of us, not just for one neighborhood, but something for the whole community. And today, a generation later, we see our history arcing from the Daughters of Bilitis all the way to the marriage marches and the vast gay prides of today. And Horizons has a vision, a dream for our community. And that dream is to build a world where all people, including LGBT people, live free from prejudice and discrimination, where we're all free to live, to work, and to love. And with every grant we make to the amazing nonprofits whose work touches thousands of people every day, we work to make that dream just a little bit more true.
Thank you. Thank you. And Peg gets an extra hug from me because Peg was actually part of the board of directors that hired me. So this is really such a wonderful tradition that you have, and it is such an honor to be included in it this year, and especially on the same night as you recognize Jeff and Jay and Tom. So thank you, KQED, and thank you to Union Bank. Tonight is made even more meaningful, it seems, by the fact that it takes place at this indisputably historic moment in our history. News of the final resolution of the evolution of the president with respect to marriage reached me a few days late. I was far from the usual listservs, sitting in a cyber cafe in the rather wonderfully named village of Namche Bazaar, which is near Mount Everest in Nepal. But even half the planet away, and even as deeply and contentedly and happily as I was in traveling mode, that news just thrilled me. And it's not only that. Just today, the Ninth Circuit, en banc, denied the petition of the backers of Prop 8 for a rehearing. And a majority of Americans today favor marriage equality. Overwhelming majorities favor non-discrimination in employment and housing. Bit by bit, our schools are becoming a bit safer for our youth. And if we look beyond our own shores, we see at long, long last that LGBT rights are finally becoming recognized as human rights. And in countries from Africa to Europe to Latin America to, yes, to Nepal, have protections for LGBT people today that are stronger than those we have here in America. All this is happening. All this is happening not because progress is in any way inevitable. It's happening because of the work, of the lives and the gifts and the sacrifices of millions of individuals. City to city, state to state, coast to coast, country to country. In fact, it feels a little bit strange to be recognized for doing something that I love. I'm honored and I'm proud to be part of an organization, Horizons Foundation, that has a vision and a mission that are so ambitious to fuel the LGBT movement, to support and strengthen the entire community, and to build an endowment fund that will secure our community's future for generations to come. And finally, it also feels just a little bit curious to be recognized for something as an individual, when in reality, the truth is, it's the work of so many. The real heroes, in my mind, behind Horizons Foundation: an outstanding 20-member board of directors, a superb staff, generous donors, and the remarkable activists and nonprofits that we have the great fortune to support, and who so often, with so little, do so much for so many. This award belongs to all of them, to many of you as well. So thank you again, KQED. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. And lastly, I want to say thank you to my partner, Royce, who brings me more inspiration and love than any man could reasonably hope for. Thank you, and happy Pride.
Our final honoree of the evening is Tom Nolan, former Executive Director of Project Open Hand. Mr. Nolan also is the first openly gay person to proudly serve as president of a board of supervisors in one of California's 58 counties. Let's watch Mr. Nolan's video profile.
My name is Tom Nolan. I was Executive Director of Project Open Hand for 17 years, openly gay elected official in San Mateo County for 8 years, and have worked for nonprofits pretty much all my life. Project Open Hand prepares and delivers about 2,600 meals every day. And in addition, another 1,200 people come to the grocery center in San Francisco and Alameda County. The mission is providing meals with love to persons living with HIV and AIDS. It operates with a staff of about 100, and it still requires 100 volunteers a day. And 26 years into the organization's history, these volunteers are still coming. I think what it is, the mission touches something deep in the human heart. You know, so that's something we can all do something about. Someone's alone and sick, hungry, we can help. It's amazing how many people it takes to do this every day, isn't it?
I know.
I'm proud of the work that I was able to be part of at Project Open Hand and the Board of Supervisors, and I'm looking forward to the next phase.
When they called me from KQED to tell me about this honor, I was sure it was because of my leadership as chairman of the Muni Board. That'll probably come up a little later in the program here sometime. But I want to thank KQED for their leadership in the community and this high honor tonight, and Union Bank for all their great involvement in our community and for so many worthy causes. About 8 or 10 people wrote letters on my behalf, and I'd like to introduce 2 of them who are still here, Bill Ambrin and Jim Illick, longtime friends. Thank you for doing this, guys. I want to thank my family and friends whose love and support have always been there for me. And most of all, I want to thank Larry Friesen, my life partner of 35 years. Didn't he look fabulous in the film? Larry, where are you, Larry? Stand up, Larry. You're good. In June of Pride Month, I often think about those who have gone before us and have done such great things, from here in San Francisco to Stonewall and all across the nation, all of the big names of people who've really done amazing things that have made it possible for us all to be here tonight, enjoying the freedoms that we do. And also, even more, though, for all of the people, thousands and thousands of individuals who simply were not going to take being treated poorly just for the reason of who they were and who they loved. And all those people made a difference in our community. They've led incredibly important lives, and I'm just so grateful to all of them. A number of years ago, I had the privilege of attending a talk in San Francisco at the ACLU given by Derek Bell. He was a former professor of law at Harvard, and he was talking about the civil rights struggle. And he talked about all of its implications, and he talked about his own role in it. And he said that he discovered for himself that meaningfulness in life is a byproduct of engagement and commitment. I think that is why we are here tonight, because of the level of engagement and commitment our brothers and sisters throughout the years and generations have done for all of us. I was extremely fortunate to have been elected to the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. I just happened to remember tonight that it was 28 years ago that the good people of San Mateo County had the wisdom to elect me to a supervisor. So I want to thank them. Thank them. And they did it again. Amazing to say. But it was a great privilege to be on that board. When I was first elected, there was an organization of openly gay and elected and appointed officials in the country. There were 14 of us. And now there are hundreds and hundreds of openly gay elected officials, every single level in our government. And I couldn't be prouder of what they're doing, and it really makes a huge difference. The big lesson I learned when I was a supervisor was it really makes a huge difference to have our own place at the table. We will always need, we always appreciate the support of our friends and allies, but it makes all the difference for us to be there, and I'm very proud to have had a role in all of that. And I was also extremely fortunate when the Board of Directors at Project Open Hand in 1994 offered me the position to serve as executive director. I've said many times, I held that position for 17 years, I've said many, many times that it was a privilege of a lifetime to be part of something so noble, so good, that it touches so many people's lives. In the film they mentioned there were 100 staff people, incredibly dedicated staff members, some of whom are here tonight. Volunteer Corps, it's just amazing. Some people have been cutting carrots and doing all of that and delivering meals for more than 25 years. Truly amazing, inspiring, all kinds of people from all backgrounds. Incredibly generous donors, wonderful board of directors members, a number of whom are here tonight. It was a really powerful thing for me. The most important thing, though, for me personally, was getting to know the people we served. A lot of organizations like ours around the country have just a kitchen or a grocery center. We had both of them over on Polk Street, a building we shared with our good friends from Shanti and the Asian Pacific Islander Wellness Center. And to get to know our clients, to know what kind of lives they lead. And, it certainly changed in 17 years. It changed greatly, and certainly for the better. But I want to tell you, and I'm sure all of you know, life is still very, very hard for persons living with HIV and AIDS here and around the world. And it's a privilege to be part of their lives, to share that with them. And as I enter the next phase of my life, I'm very proud of how far we've all come as a community, and I'm mindful of the struggles ahead. I think of bullying of our young people, DOMA, full marriage equality, HIV/AIDS, still far from over, and the safety net, the so-called safety net, is unraveling very, very rapidly for the people that we care about, people in our community and others as well. I'm increasingly interested, for possibly an obvious reason, in the issues of aging affecting the gay community. I did notice that in all the honorees here, I'm the only one that's been referred to as Mr. 3 or 4 times. So I'm assuming that's a sign of enormous respect. But as I look forward to the next phase of my life, the hope I have for myself, really, and for all of us, is that sense that Derek Bell talked about of engagement and commitment, how meaning will be given to us in our lives. By the fact that we engage and commit ourselves to our community in every kind of way, and we work for that, meaning will be part of our lives. And that's what my hope is for myself. And I hope to be involved in all these issues as I go forward. So not only, in my opinion, does it matter that we be engaged and involved for the sake of others, it matters for our own sake. Give us meaning for our own life, and I hope that's the case for all of you. And God bless you, and happy Pride Month. Okay, thank you.
Our next performance tonight comes from true pioneers, both in entertainment and in LGBT equality, the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. The chorus has received too many awards and recognitions to list here and has been featured in documentaries along with countless news and television segments. We are honored to be joined tonight by a smaller ensemble of the entire chorus called the Ambassadors. So please join me in welcoming this chorus back to the Castro Theater tonight.
Across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Between your heart and mine, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge. Yes, we know love can build a bridge. Now I would whisper love so loudly, every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, 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 anything. We keep believing in the power of love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Yes, it's time. Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge. Love can build a bridge. Love can build a bridge. Yes, it's time. Yes, it's time.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. It has been my great pleasure to share these local heroes with you this evening. Thank you, San Francisco. Keep being heroic and keep changing the world. Thank you and good night.
Mine,
girl now. Once upon a time I was a shy young thing, could barely walk and talk so much as dance and sing. But once I hit that stage I wanna take a bow, 'cause mama I'm a big girl now.
Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Once upon a time I used to dress up cat, and now that I'm a woman I like bigger men. And I don't need a Barbie doll to show me how, 'cause mama I'm a big girl now.
Whoa, Mom, you always taught me what was right from wrong, and now I just wanna give it a try. Mama, I've been in the nest for far too long, so please give a push, Mama, watch me fly, watch me fly.
Hey mama, say mama, someday I will meet a man you won't condemn, and we will have some kids and you can torture them.
So let me be a star before I take that bow.
'Cause mama, I'm a big girl now. Oh, oh, oh. Mama, I'm a big girl now. Hey, 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 mama, I'm a big girl now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Mama, I'm a big girl now. I said now.